be able to hire your own appraiser. Now you pay for the appraiser, and the bank has an independent appraiser that goes out. You follow? So before, if I know John will go and appraise it for me, right? John will get it for what it needs to be, right? But now John can't do it unless the bank told John to do it. So I pay for the appraisal, just like we used to, but we don't get to pick who's going to actually do the appraisal. So that's to avoid that scenario. Got it? Deirdre, you look enlightened. Look like you got it all together now. That too over here. So we got appraisals, we got inspections, we got contracts. Any questions, Matt? I know you came in a little bit later, but
yes, the inspector is just going to be more focused on just the quality of the house after, because like the appraiser doesn't look so much maybe at the structural.
He does and he doesn't. That's not really his primary function. But if he's going to compare it to another house that's doesn't have a problem with the foundation, say, and this one does have a problem with the foundation, obviously that's going to affect the overall value, right? That's one of those subtractions, right? So when I said you look at the house, it may have some better features or some features that are not so good, you know. That's where you make a determination whether to subtract or add to the value of the comparable, right?
How long does all this take?
To do what? To buy a house?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
No, the whole process.
It depends.
6 months or something, or
No.
3 months?
No. Normally, when the market was really, really good, it took anywhere from 45 to 60 days to do a closing. Okay? And that's because, obviously, you got the inspection period, so that's 7 to 10 days, right? Then you got the person applying for the mortgage, right? So they're trying to get the mortgage. So they have to fill out applications and all those kinds of things. Show your credit, show their assets, all that other stuff. Those things have to be verified, prove that they have employment, right? And so it's a process. There's a lot of people involved with it. Anywhere from 45 to 60 days normally to acquire a house, unless it's new construction, and that can take however long it's going to take for the house to be built and then for the credit process. Can I say something like that? Yeah, that. Yeah. Jump in there. So, I think that's more normally.
Property insurance?
Property insurers?
Or wait, no, property tax, right?
Real estate tax.
Okay. So that's something you always pay?
Absolutely. Till you die. Or your house dies.
Yeah.
Whichever comes first, right? You always have to pay real estate tax. Some places it's quarterly, some places it's semi-annually, some places it's yearly, right? But you pay real estate taxes as long as you own real estate. And when you transfer real estate, you have to pay not only real estate tax, but you have to pay what you call a conveyance tax normally in most states. That means you have to pay a percentage of whatever you get back to the government, whether it's Hanover or New Hampshire, or both. So in Connecticut, you pay the city tax, conveyance tax, and you pay a state conveyance tax. In Alabama, I think it's just state conveyance tax. And different places have different ways.
I have an unrelated question. Oftentimes when people talk about paying for a home, they throw around the word escrow, and I've tried looking it up.
What's that, escrow?
Yeah, I have no idea what it is. Do you have like a
just ask me?
simplified?
Oh, he got a burrito in his mouth. He can't speak right now. The escrow, you want to know what escrow is?
Yeah.
Matt, tell her what escrow is.
Yeah, no.
Matt, tell her what escrow is.
Something about when you close with the house, is that when it's in escrow after?
What's an escrow? Was it you're close? Huh?
It's a holding place.
It is a holding place, right? What kind of holding
It's
place?
like a bank.
Bank doing what?
For money that's on its way.
Right. In a sense, right? Escrow account is where you place money or hold money until it needs to be used for a specific purpose. So it's like a savings account that's set up to use that money for a specific purpose at a specific time when that time comes. So sometimes when you're buying a house, like for instance in Florida, and in California, maybe even in San Diego, they have something called an escrow agent. An escrow agent is usually an attorney or a title company, and they're holding the money, like whether it's the deposit, that first deposit you put down on the contract, they're holding that money until the closing date, at which time they want to use that money to pay for the house. You understand? So escrow is usually some form of an account. When they refer to an escrow agent, that's the person that's holding the money until the specific time comes that it needs to be used.
Why do they need to do that?
Because we don't trust each other.
Okay.
Excuse me? Huh?
So that at some point, you're kind of going down this route, and you can't go back and you need to put the money somewhere else.
If a dispute arises,
Okay.
let's get rid of the escrow agent, right? Just for a second. And I need some tissue because my nose is about to run out here, but there's escrow agent, right? Yeah, just throw me that down here. All up and throw it down. Thanks, Dave. That's my man. Dan, my man. All right. Let's get the escrow agent out of it. Dan and Deirdre, they're about to buy and sell a house, right? Let's say Dan's selling the house with the messed up foundation that he had, right? Dan's selling the house. Deirdre's purchasing. Deirdre's going to give a deposit, right? Some amount. Not the whole 20%, but maybe anywhere from 3 to 10%, right? You're going to give a deposit. To Dan? Would you want to do that? Because that's how it used to be, right? It used to be, I go by, I see your house, I really like it. I want you to hold on to it. So what I do, I write a check. I say, hold it for me. That's the beginning of our contract, right? Unilateral contract, which means if I don't come and buy it, you keep the money, right? But in this particular instance, that's not the case. Deirdre has every intent to purchase your house. You're going to sell it to her, but you want a deposit. So let's go back to the $100,000 house. She's going to put 3% down. So how much money are you going to give to Dan? So you give Dan $3,000, right? And then all of a sudden you go to inspect the house. You determine you don't like the fact that the foundation. What was wrong with the foundation? It's lopsided or something?
Sinking. Yeah.
It was sinking. All right. So now you see the sinking foundation. You say, you know what? I don't want this. So what are you going to do? You're going to ask for your $3,000 back, right? But then, when you come to his house, he's all red-eyed, sloshed, and crazy looking, right? Used your $3,000. How are you going to get your money back?
Sue him.
Yeah, right? But wouldn't you rather sue him with the money in somebody else's possession other than Dan's possession? That's what the escrow agent is for. The escrow agent is an objective third party holding the money. And if the transaction goes through like it's supposed to, the money will go to the seller. If there's a dispute, the money goes to the court. So you can fight it out over there. But the court has possession of the money. You understand? That's what the escrow agent is for. It's an objective third party holding on to the money in the beginning of the closing transaction. Now, mortgages, they also use an escrow. And it goes back to what you were talking about, Dan, that you know it all, about taxes, real estate taxes, homeowners insurance, and if you're buying a condo, maybe, what do you call that? You buy a condo? Association dues, whatever, right? So let's suppose, for the sake of argument, we just bought this house. Now, how much money did we borrow? We bought a $100,000 house. We got a conventional loan. How much money did we borrow? Come on, Deidre. Come on, Dan. Matt. How much did we borrow? We bought a $100,000 house. We got a conventional loan.
86,000.
We borrowed 86? Come on, Matt.
No, we're expected to pay 20 plus other stuff.
So how much did we borrow? $80,000.
80,000.
There we go. We're getting back to it, right? They're paying attention a little bit. So $80,000, right? So you borrow $80,000.